King Naresuan is a national hero in Thailand and one of the country's most revered monarchs. At least 2 films and a TV series depict his life, as well as a multiplayer online role-playing game entitled King Naresuan Online. King Naresuan is so respected in Thailand that when an 84-year-old historian named Sulak Sivaraska questioned one of the details of the legend, he faced prosecution in a Thai military court. Although the case was ultimately dropped after 2 years, this incident demonstrates how truly passionate the Thai are about the legendary king. But who was Naresuan, and how did he become known as the greatest warrior king in Thai history? Keep watching to find out. The country now known as Thailand has been inhabited for tens of thousands of years. People settled along the river valleys, farming rice, domesticating animals, and fishing. The political system in the area evolved with groups of villages ruled over a hereditary lord. Hindus and Buddhists heavily influenced the region's culture as traders and travelers moved through the region between India and China. They were also influenced by the Khmer culture, which was an Indianized civilization. In the 14th century, the kingdom of Ayutthaya started as a small city-state on the northwest edge of the Khmer Empire. It grew in power around the Chao Phraya River basin with its rich rice plains, situated around 55 miles north of modern-day Bangkok. It was during this period that the region began to be referred to as Siam. The Ayutthaya kings increased their territories, pushing back the Khmer and even sacking the Khmer capital of Angkor in 1431. The Ayutthaya brought many Khmer captives back from Angkor. Then, the Ayutthayan royals adopted numerous Hindu practices from the Khmer hostages, including the idea of the God King and holding rulers in divine reverence. This new devotion to the ruler solidified and intensified the power of the monarch. As the Ayutthaya kingdom was expanding, so was Myanmar's dynasty of Taungoo, which led to inevitable war. In the 16th century, Ayutthaya king Maha Chakrapat clashed with the Myanmarese. After a victory in the 1547 to 1569 war with the Taungoo dynasty, Chakrapat anticipated further conflict and built up the defenses of his capital. To try and preempt an attack, Chakrapat decided to prepare to invade Myanmar, building up arms and supplies and capturing 7 white elephants for good luck. News of Chakrapat's war preparations reached the Burmese king Bayanong, who attacked first, taking Lan Na city of Chiang Mai in 1556. Soon, most of northern Siam was controlled by Myanmar. As his power was growing, Bayanong demanded that Chakrapat give 2 of his white elephants as tribute. Chakrapat refused, and Bayanong marched his troops to Ayutthaya. On their way, the Taungoo army took the town of Pitsanulo, whose governor, Maha Tamaraka, surrendered and submitted to Bayanong in January 1564. Some historians believe that his surrender happened only as a last resort, when his people were out of food and suffering a smallpox epidemic. In contrast, others view him as a turncoat who willingly joined forces with the Taungoo king. In February 1564, the Taungoo army reached the city walls of Ayutthaya and bombarded the city. Although they could not breach the walls, it soon became clear that the city's inhabitants could not outlast a prolonged siege. Chakrapat felt he had little choice but to negotiate peace, although this cost him several of his war leaders and his son, Prince Naresuan, who were all taken back to Myanmar as hostages. Chakrapat also had to hand over 4 of his lucky white elephants. The king of Pitsanalo, Maha Tamaraka, had 2 sons and 1 daughter. Although many historians cite him as the reason Bayanong successfully invaded Ayutthaya, he was subject to the same conditions as King Chakrapat. His oldest child, Supankalaya, was known as the Golden Princess, with the middle son, Prince Naret, called the Black Prince, while the youngest, Ekatatsuro, received the moniker White Prince. Naret, who was born in 1555, was just 8 when his father's kingdom became a vassal state of Myanmar. To secure Tamaraka's loyalty, Bayanong took his 2 sons hostage and returned with them to Myanmar, where they would be educated in his court. In some stories, while at Bayanong's court, Naresuan met Bayanong's grandson Mingyiswa, who was around his age. All accounts describe a rivalry between the 2 boys, and one that would come to a head in adulthood. However, there are no historical records of this encounter, although it is conceivable, and many historians believe the tale of their meeting in their youth is simply a plot device to add more intrigue to the story. In 1569, King Chakrapat died, and Ayutthaya was made a vassal state of Myanmar. The Ayutthaya capital was plundered, thousands of captured Siamese were enslaved and sent to Myanmar, and the Ayutthaya kingdom became a vassal of Bayanang's Taungoo dynasty. It was obligated to pay a yearly tax of 30 elephants and 300 pieces of silver. Tamaraka's ongoing loyalty to Bayanang was rewarded with the return of his sons and the rule of Ayutthaya. However, his daughter, Princess Supankala, was sent to Myanmar and became Bayanang's lover. Around 1570, the young Prince Naret was crowned King of Pitsanalo by his father and adopted the name King Naresuan. Having received military training in Myanmar, Naresuan soon became an adept and popular king. He was able to defend the kingdom against the Khmer, but his real target was the Taungoo. Although he remained a vassal for the Myanmar dynasty, his true desire was to free Siam from Taungoo rule. As he was trained in the Myanmar court, he knew he stood no chance in out-and-out warfare, so instead he formed an army of volunteers called the Wild Tigers, who were trained in stealth and speed. Naresuan knew the Siamese could defeat their enemy, despite having fewer numbers, if they used the element of surprise and their superior knowledge of the terrain. In 1581, Bayanang died, leaving his son Nanda Bayan to rule his empire. Nanda Bayan was not as shrewd as his father, and his rule did not start well. When he was crowned, he had to face a rebellion from his uncles. 3 years later, things would get worse. In 1584, Naresuan's army was well organized and fully trained, and his father, who supported his plans to rebel, had repaired and strengthened Ayutthaya's fortifications. Naresuan renounced his allegiance to Myanmar, knowing this act would cause Nanda Bayan to retaliate and send his army. Naresuan retreated but left nothing to sustain the invading army. He burned down towns and villages, scorching the fields and poisoning or moving the livestock. As the Taungoo army advanced, they found nothing but devastation and were plagued by guerrilla attacks from Naresuan's wild tigers. Unable to resupply and depleted from the ambushes, the invading army was forced to turn back. Back in Myanmar, Nanda Bayan regrouped his army and, over the next 3 years, made numerous attempts to invade the Chao Phraya River Valley. But each time, Naresuan was victorious. Naresuan was not only able to fight off the Myanmar invasions, but also repelled Cambodian forces. When Naresuan's father died in 1590, he became the king of Siam and decided he was no longer content with defensive measures alone. He took his army and captured the Cambodian capital of Lavec, after which Cambodia became a vassal of Siam. He also conquered the kingdom of Chiang Mai, which became subservient to Naresuan's growing kingdom. The year 1593 saw Naresuan's most famous battle, the decisive Battle of Nong Sarai. Despite years of failure, Nanda Bayan was determined to reconquer the Ayutthaya kingdom. Toward the end of 1592, Nanda Bayan launched the last Taungoo invasion and left his son, Crown Prince Mingyi Swa, to command his huge army. Mingyi Swa had a reputation for ineptitude, but his vast army greatly outnumbered the Siam forces. Although Naresuan's army fought ferociously, they were soon forced to retreat and were on the brink of collapse. At this point, Naresuan's story really becomes legendary. King Naresuan decided to ride into the fray on his war elephant and seek out Mingyi Swa. Some stories say that Naresuan challenged Mingyi Swa to one-on-one combat, saying, "Why do you stay on your elephant in the shade? Come out and engage in honorable single combat. There will be no kings who ever do this again." Other tales say that Naresuan fought his way through the enemy ranks before finding Mingyi Swa and attacking him. Most accounts agree that the fight was so awe-inspiring that the soldiers stopped fighting each other in order to watch the epic battle. Ultimately, Naresuan won, slaying Mingyi Swa, whose troops fled at the sight of their fallen leader. This battle is so firmly planted in Thai history that the date of the conflict, January 18th, was adopted as a national holiday. Some historians contest whether the elephant battle ever took place, as there was no Siamese or European records of it from the time it supposedly happened. Nevertheless, it is now an integral part of the legend, and most Thai people fondly retell and firmly believe in it. Regardless of the specifics, Naresuan won and finally defeated the Taungoo. Naresuan had put an end to the Myanmar threat, and Siam would not be invaded by Myanmar again until the 18th century. Furthermore, in 1593, Naresuan was able to take the Myanmar provinces of Tavoy and Tenasserim. This conquest gave Siam trade access to the Indian Ocean and inspired the people in southern Myanmar to revolt and invite Naresuan to occupy territories on the Salween River. In 1595, Nanda Bayan was forced to defend the capital of Pegu from Siamese attacks. 4 years later, Pegu was besieged by Nanda Bayan's brothers, who took Nanda Bayan hostage. Bayanang's empire was totally dismembered. Many historians postulate that Bayanang's ambition outweighed his administrative skills and theorize that his empire was too big to manage effectively. When Naresuan planned to attack Pegu again in 1599, the Taungoo leaders feared that if Pegu fell into Siamese hands, it would give Ayutthaya too much power. So they destroyed the city before Naresuan could arrive, and Naresuan was forced to retreat, having found Pegu devastated. Little is known about Nanda Bayan's death, with some reports saying that he was assassinated by Taungoo Prince Natchinong in 1600. One legendary account says that he laughed to death when informed by a visiting Italian merchant that Venice was a free state without a king. King Naresuan was awarded the title the Great by his people, and it is thought that he died in 1605, leading his army to defend Chiang Mai province. Many historians now believe he died of an illness that was likely to have been smallpox. He was succeeded by his brother Ekathotsuro. In many memorials to King Naresuan, effigies of cockerels were often seen. The link with roosters relates to another legend associated with Naresuan, which is that during his youth as a royal hostage in Myanmar, he engaged in cockfighting. When his rooster beat the reigning champion, Naresuan refused any material prize, instead asking for Siam's freedom. Although this story is unproven, it adds to the Thai people's passion for the hero king that freed them from foreign rule. How would you like to get a deeper understanding of history, impress your friends, and predict the future more accurately based on past events? If this sounds like something you might be into, then check out the brand new Captivating History Book Club by clicking the first link in the description. To learn more about the history of Thailand, check out our book, History of Thailand, a captivating guide to the Thai people and their history. It's available as an ebook, paperback, and audiobook. If you found the video captivating, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this.